All right, and welcome back to Do News. I'm your host, the King of Do. Very happy to have you back here today doing a live stream. If you're watching this recording, thank you for checking out the channel. We hope that you join the community and hope you enjoy the news we got today. Got a lot to cover. Going to dive in right into the market news right now. All right, jumping right into the markets. Today's kind of a sideways day for a lot of people. It feels good to maybe see some green. We see some double-digit gainers. Stellar, no surprise, with all of the good news coming out from Stellar as of late. I expect Stellar to make a run this year, similar to potentially what Ripple did last year. Definitely something to keep your eye on as they are making some big waves in the news in regards to partnerships. But it's just good to see some traditional double digits. NEM, of course, regaining its rightful spot as it moves back up. NEM's been around a long time. Big fan of NEM and the work that they do. One of the biggest ones today is VeChain, really making noise. They've been making noise for a while now, working products and things like that. Now, VeChain still needs to really try to figure itself out in the way that they're commercializing and selling themselves. As you know, you kind of go to their website and you see this movie going on, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that. It's definitely cool that they have some very strong creative teams working on the chain. I don't know if this is going to help with adoption. It looks cool. Reminds me of Destiny, the game, or something like Halo, maybe. A little bit of Star Wars mix. Very interesting. Very creative. Not sure how it helps, but one of the big reasons we're seeing a huge increase today is a big increase in volume because it got listed on BitHump and essentially Korean exchange got listed. A lot of people buying, a lot of demand, pushing the price up. A lot of hype about that because that's kind of an adoption thing, and we all understand and know that have been around a while that Korean adoption is kind of a big thing. So, big piece of the news there. They also are working towards mainnet here soon. They just got done with getting... essentially, they're going into a testing phase. Some people were able to pick up some nodes recently. I believe it was about 6,000 coins you needed. And people kind of got that going recently, so that helped the price a little bit. But essentially, nothing but good news. What I wanted to show you, too, is this video of a prototype actually being made. And I thought it was really cool. And this is a prototype of a NFC chip that they plan to use. It's a prototype for VeChain. Very, very cool stuff. So if you haven't gone and checked out VeChain, a lot of promising things going on here. There's definitely a space for them. They're getting a lot of adoption. One of the things that I also found interesting about VEN, call it VEN for short because that is the ticker symbol, VEN. One thing I noticed about it today was this article is very interesting. This actually came out a while ago, but I hadn't come across it yet. But essentially, Michigan State University put together a actual white paper, essentially kind of showcasing what you could potentially do with data information and kind of a vending machine is kind of what they call it. Of data usage and sharing. The idea that you will own your data and essentially people will be able to access it if you choose to. So there's a lot of powerful things that can happen with that. One thing is if we could actually take all the health records in the world and share them, but it not be tied to individuals, etc., but actually openly share them, research and development around different types of problems and relationships of problems would become very clear quickly, especially with artificial intelligence being applied to that kind of information to go and dig out these correlations and connections between different health issues. So there are benefits to it that could potentially happen. But at the same time, we know, and it's all over the news, how everyone's taking your data and reselling it. It's to the point where people are talking about it in casual talk at work, And that's when you really know it's hit that tipping point where people really have woken up and understand that sites like Facebook are taking your data and reselling it. Well, everyone's really upset at Facebook because it's this social phenomenon and we can all talk about it. And it's really easy to get upset at a guy we all know named Mark. But when you step back and really start digging in and understanding that governments are abusing your data, they have been, politicians have been abusing your data, and credit card companies, banking systems abusing your data. Credit card companies, they definitely take everything that you're buying. I mean, how do you think they get the money to like give you cash back and stuff? They're making money in a lot of different ways using your data, among other things and other traditional financing things. They make a lot of money off your data. So it was pretty interesting to read this article in the sense that there's a lot of GDRP concerns, especially if you're in Europe right now. That's going live in May. GDR, it's the compliancy requirements are extremely high. And essentially, this is going to help ease some of that. It's a potential solution on this chain. So some pretty cool stuff. And definitely worth checking out. Found it on Medium, and it's actually on the VeChain official Medium. And if you go and you check that out, it's really, really cool. So I'll actually go ahead and throw this into the live chat. And with that being said, let's welcome some people into live chat. How's everyone doing today? Got muted in here. Good to see you, man. Thanks for sharing some of the stuff you've been sharing in the Telegram. If you guys haven't joined our Telegram, down below is a link to the Telegram. You'll get a ton of really high quality information there. It's priceless, the amount of information there. Please join us. Got Harvard boys in the house. Love having you guys here. What else we got? Happy April FUD Day. Indeed. Let's see. OMG Hard Spoon thoughts. Haven't checked that out yet. If you could put a link for me, I will check that out after this. Cover that in my next video. Throw it in the Telegram as well. I've not had an opportunity to check that out. I threw the link in there for you guys. Welcome, Dennis. How you doing? All the way from Australia. Good to see you. I got John here. We're going to keep this going. A lot to cover, and I've been trying to keep these videos short. I had one person tell me I don't talk fast enough, so I need to talk faster. Trying to talk faster. Okay, BTCNN allegedly reporting that we had CoinMarketCap yesterday on April Fool's, putting everything in the price of a Lambo, which essentially they just rounded it to $200,000. That's about how much a Lambo costs, I guess. I have no personal intent of getting a Lambo. I have my eyes set on other things. I definitely have those goals, and you should have those goals. You should write down those goals. You should also write down the goals to get to those goals first, because it's quite a lot of goals in between. So if you're chasing your Lambos, make sure you're not betting it all on your favorite cryptocurrency. There are many, many other fascinating and amazing things in this world. Write down your goals, guys. Best advice I got for you today. But loved this April Fool's joke. I felt like it was the best one that I saw in the crypto space yesterday. If you guys saw any great April Fool's jokes, make sure you put it down in the comment below. Would love to kind of collect a few different links and things, even as a historical marker, so I can come back someday and be like, what were the April Fool jokes back then, and take a look. So make sure you leave a comment below of ones that you saw or ones that you liked. Maybe even leave a link. That'd be fantastic as well. And let me know. Definitely want to hear from you. Saw this. This was really funny too. This was imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Tweeted out by Crypto Hub News. Pretty good, credible source for a lot of crypto news. And it's just all these people with the name Vitalik that are following. And it's just hilarious. It's how do you even know which one's the real one? Well, there's this little blue symbol to know which one the real one is. And it's just fascinating to me to think that people would actually accidentally maybe follow some of these. A lot of people have fallen to scams of sending ETH, hoping to get more ETH back. It's been going on for a long time. If you've been around, you know this. But anyhow, I just kind of thought it was funny. Just the imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and there's probably tens of thousands of Vitaliks on Twitter now. which is fascinating. I'm still waiting for someone to be the king of do on Twitter and try to replicate my own, and that'll be an interesting day. I'm looking forward to that day. John McAfee finally just kind of came out and made it really clear as far as what he's been charging for a lot of his crypto tweets. And a lot of what he's been doing is really just kind of cashing in on this Twitter profile that he's created over the last few years. He's really just kind of, draining some money out of it. So everything he's tweeting, I would take with a major grain of salt. The fact that he's kind of being a little bit more transparent about the actual cost that he's charging. But to think that someone would actually pay him $105 is pretty crazy. Now, with that being said, I think it would be important, and it's a good opportunity for you to go back and maybe look at the projects that he did recommend, because you know that those were paid advertising ploys and tactics. It's challenging. It's challenging in this space, so let's be real, to disseminate the difference between a legitimate investment opportunity and a fake one at times. And I also struggle as a professional digital marketer to really identify the ethical stance on this. Because as a digital marketer right now, one of the biggest things out there that everyone's buzzing about, this new word, influencer marketing. Okay. Great buzzword. If you do it right, yes, it works. You can make a lot of money. There's tons of case studies that prove it. It is a art to a point, with science to a point, and it's still in a lot of development. It reminds me a lot of the days of when social media first started coming out. So influencer is kind of like this capitalization, taking advantage of the maturity of social media. Anyhow, from a digital marketing standpoint, I struggle a little bit because as a professional marketer, you want to tap into influencers. John here is an influencer, to say the least, and there's many others. And a lot of people do go out and they're paying people to get things posted. I would probably be willing to say that, gosh, if you're following anyone that's in the top probably 10,000 in Twitter or on Facebook and things of that nature, the majority, if not all, posts are likely being supplemented in some way and making someone money. And it's kind of fascinating because it kind of goes full circle. If we kind of rewind the clock and really think about media and the way that media companies made money throughout all the years. And, propaganda is a real thing. You can go and learn about propaganda in museums because it's been going on for so long, and paid propaganda, and these media sources are losing a lot of money to people like John, whereas that $105,000 could have gone to New York Times, right? To talk about a cryptocurrency and things of that nature. So it's becoming very, very real and tangible to the average everyday person, just how messed up really all content in general is. We are in a world of complete chaos when it comes to content. The idea that can be fixed and governed properly is out there, and blockchain offers that solution potentially. But as with all things that have value comes greed and manipulation and things of that nature. So can that ever really happen? Can we ever reach that point where we can enlighten the world and actually start having legitimate news come out? I don't know. I don't know if we'll get there in our lifetime. It's a technology challenge. It's a geopolitical challenge. There's so much encompassing that. I don't know if we'll get there in our lifetime. We're likely to see wars over it before we ever resolve it. So very, very interesting. And just kind of want to share my thoughts on that in general because it's just something I've been thinking a lot about lately. SEC. Charging a few individuals for basically a scam ICO. And we all knew that there were scam ICOs. Like, this is just the first of many. But essentially, there was an initial coin offering, raised about 32 mil. And it's super fascinating. Many of you have probably heard of it. Some of you may have actually invested in it. And it was Centra. And I'm worried about it a little bit in general. I'll kind of get to that in a moment. But anyhow, they caught the guy basically boarding the plane to leave the country. They basically caught him trying to flee Essentially, they fired everyone in the company and everything, and just tried to run away with all the money. I'm not quite sure. There's not really much details around that, but I thought it was pretty interesting and something to be aware of. That this is the first of potentially many, and this is the kind of stuff where this is hurting the space. And we knew this was going to happen. We knew it was going to come out, and people going to jail for this kind of stuff. So I hope you weren't affected. Now, with that being said, guilty by association. I'm not claiming that. Let me be clear. Cliff High did actually interview the CEO of this project, and so that's interesting. It's 100% plausible that it could just be related. I don't know if it was a paid thing, a partnership thing. Don't know, but it does leave people to question and wonder: is there something going on that's fishy there? It doesn't, usually when something smells, right? So, fascinating. Super big fan of Cliff High's work. Not a big fan of his theories on a lot of things in general, but the actual technology and the actual reporting and his data mining, that stuff I could nerd out on all day. So, a little bit interesting. I'm not a huge fan of him, to be honest, even when he states specific coins and things like that in his reports or in any interview or does any interviews. Not a huge fan. I feel like it really, it's hurting his ability to see the data without having a lens that's manipulated. And so that's challenging for me. If I were him, I would continue to try to develop the technology, and I would actually probably outsource it, the actual data mining and the digging for the actual conclusions to someone else. Just because, that bias kind of gets in the way sometimes, that self-fulfilling thing. Again, I'm a big fan of his work. I just want it to be in a better environment where it's safe and it can actually produce without any accidental biases. So anyhow, moving on, the world's worst crypto article of all time. Someone shared this with me in the Telegram. Thank you for sharing this, because I actually did read the original. Now, if you read the original article, essentially someone was talking about the manipulation of Bitcoin and that there's a cartel at work. And it blew up. It was all over the place. It was on multiple different subreddits, all over in the news and stuff like that. And it was great to see this this guy kind of do his research. And so this gentleman posted here on Medium a response. And if you want to check it out, it's medium.com/cryptomedication. That is the username. He did a fantastic job of breaking down a lot of the arguments trying to prove that there's a cartel. And essentially at the end of the day, after reading this article and then the other one, the original, it's really, really clear that essentially someone's just taking advantage of the situation. Right now, we are reaching that point of despair in the market cycle, to where people are essentially desperate to blame people. Okay, that is the nature of our society. It's the reason we nominate presidents and boot them out really quickly. I think it's actually why the United States maintains our sanity compared to many countries, is because, well, at least we don't have to put up with it for long, right? We can move on to the next thing, and we have someone to blame. There's always someone to blame in that sense. So, essentially, someone wrote a really, really good article to capitalize on everyone's fear, the challenges that are going on in the marketplace, a lot of the FUD going on, and they kind of just rode the coattails of that and wrote a fantastic article that, just blew up. So congrats to them for writing some great content. But I'm going to be siding with this gentleman who did his due diligence and really dug in on every single point. So I encourage you to go read this, because I know a lot of people read the first article because it was everywhere. It was at the top of everything. And this idea that a cartel is doing price suppression and things like that, You definitely want to go and actually look at this guy's article. It was fantastic. Again, I'm going to throw this one in the live chat for anyone who's here right now. All right. Moving on. Wrapping it up here, and then I'll take some questions for you guys. I just wanted to take a quick look at essentially what was at once proof of work coin. Proof of weak hands. Sorry. The proof of weak hands coin. Essentially, it's blown up in the last week, guys. It has gotten out of control. We've got 44,000 transactions now. Just before this started, we broke 13,000 Ether, something crazy like that. And you can go check it out on the actual website. I was just checking out the Ether scan before we got started. But essentially what it is it's a smart contract Ponzi scheme, and it's brilliant. And it shows the power and the benefits of a smart contract and pros and cons, I guess. Depends how you look at it. It's fun. It's educational. We've talked about it on the channel before. I'm not trying to hype it. I can't do that. I won't do that because people go to jail for doing that. That is what BitConnect is. People are literally going to jail right now because of that exact same thing. Anyhow, someone created a decentralized smart contract, which essentially is a Ponzi scheme, and it's amazingly hilarious. Lots of people making lots of money right now, which means a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money soon. But we don't know where it's going to end. The volume has picked up like crazy in the last week. It blew my mind. I know a lot of you stuck in 10 or 20 bucks for the education purpose and for the fun and something cool to watch and follow. My entertainment is paid for, and I hope that if you haven't at least checked it out, maybe go check out the website. Let me see if I can bring that up for you guys. The website is powh.io, and gosh, it's a hoot. It's a hoot. Let me just throw it up here for you guys. Basically, it's a website jam-packed full of memes and good crypto jokes. It's completely transparent and honest about this being a 100% scam. They essentially tell you, you know, if you put your money in here, you will lose it, most likely. A lot of people have made money, though. I just love it. I mean, the inspiration board, you know, inspired by John and inspired by Vitalik and by a unicorn t-shirt. I mean, there's nothing more inspiring than those things in my personal life. Here's the shill kit. You know, they give you marketing materials to go out and market this amazing new coin smart contract. And you know, I've got the Doge here, of course. You know, there's arguments on how you pronounce that. I just say it the way my daughter says it because I think it's funny. She likes to call it a Doge. And you know, got the Lambo and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys are earning your Lambos if you got in early. But if not, well, you know, enjoy the show. So I wanted to give you an update on that because we talked about it a while ago and people keep talking about it in the Telegram channel. All right, I'm going to take some questions. Before I take questions, smash that like button for me. Leave a comment below. I know a lot of people jump out at the question part, so just make sure that if you're heading out now, make sure to hit that like button. It means so much to me. Also, make sure you check me out on Steemit. Make sure you follow me on Steemit. If you got a Steemit upvote bot, I'd love your upvotes. Make sure you check me out there. Appreciate you. Okay, so we're going to kind of jump on over to the any questions I got. John Doe says if anything goes wrong in the United States, you just blame Russia. And well, they probably do the same, which is kind of funny. They probably say the same stuff about us. Can you link it again? It's broke. Oh, the links aren't working. Yeah, I'll get the links up here for you. Let's see if we can. I'm not sure why the link's not working there for you, but I'll try to help you out. Do I have any VIN? I don't talk about my positions. I hope that's okay with you. There's all different types of positions that exist at this point in the crypto space. So it's very complex when people often ask me that. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's just complex. It's complex, guys. People deserve to get scammed. It's the only way they learn. Well, I mean, I hope that they learn when they actually are just watching and reading before they invest. I mean, you you have to actually like know how to use MetaMask and stuff. So there's a population of people right there that they've been around a little while. They know how to mess around with this stuff when it comes to the proof of weak hand coin. Okay, so I don't know what to say. I mean, if you are investing in it heavily and things like that, I hope you're having fun, because so far it's been a ton of fun. And I just and I don't know how long the fun will continue. Could it last all year? Could it last multiple years like BitConnect? Could the people that literally got in early with a few $100 literally turn that into millions? I don't know. I don't know. But it would be literally hilarious if that's true. I know some of you put in a couple bucks, so I hope you made your money back. And you're just sitting pretty now enjoying the show. So, Lightning Network. You know, we talked a lot about Lightning Network recently. So Lightning Network essentially is a network that's going to live off-chain that'll help secure transactions and help make them faster, ideally cheaper, things like that. I am of the personal opinion that I like it, right? But I'm not going to sit here and debate all of the super finite technical reasons why it may or may not be good. For me, as more of a traditional end user, it works and it's faster and it's cheaper. That's a value to me. All these other things that people talk about, well, you know, if we have to give up the fast and the cheap and things like that, then I don't really know what I really want to be using it for. You know, it's challenging. It's challenging. That does remind me, though. I wanted to talk about. I don't have a MetaMask tutorial. I actually thought about doing one. That's a good question. I should put one together for you. Real easy to use. There's a new version coming out soon that I did cover recently. And essentially, I made the decision to wait until that new one comes out before I do any tutorial type of stuff with MetaMask, because it looks like it's 1,000 times better. So I'm just kind of sitting around waiting for that. Anyhow, there was a weird, interesting post that I do not know why I got to the #1 of cryptocurrency subreddit, but essentially it was some guy just basically who didn't seem to be super educated based on the post on really the history of Bitcoin and understanding the economics of it, but trying to post his point against not pegging things to Bitcoin. And it was interesting to me. We've talked about pegging a lot, in that if you're going to be investing in this space, you better pick one. You either pick Ether or you pick Bitcoin. And that's very, very intentional and for very, very specific reasons. And I kind of want to talk about that because, you know, my only response to that gentleman on that Reddit was, well, what do you want to peg it to? Fiat? You want to peg it to fiat currency? Like, he didn't state what he wanted to peg it to, but that's how things in the world work. It's pegged to something. I mean, there's no other way around it. So to me, it was a little bit fascinating to kind of see people upvote it so much. That there's so many people in this space that they're missing the fundamental elements of what this space is. And I'm not sitting here starting to fanboy about Bitcoin right now. That's not what I'm trying to talk about or tell you about right now. That is not it. It has a whole lot more to do with just the liquidity and the oil that is allowing people to move money in and out of the space. And Bitcoin is it. It is a legitimate currency in the space and what things are tied to and pegged to. Ethereum is the other one. Where ECR20 tokens are very tied to it at times. Not all the time, but at times. And it's important. It's important because this is an entire new asset class that's never existed before. It's an entire new technology class that's never existed before. So I don't know how people are thinking about this when they just got into the space and they don't quite understand how the space developed, how Bitcoin has enabled these other technologies. It's really, really challenging for me. So at the end of the day, the only thing is that if you don't want it to be pegged to Bitcoin, that's fine. But what non-fiat do you want to peg it to? Because at the end of the day, if you peg it to gold, well, everyone knows that the number one pair in the world is gold to the USD. Same with oil. You know, how are you going to get away from that? The only way to do that is to do exactly what this space has done, which is have a legitimate currency that is supported and completely decentralized. That's the only way to do it. If you're going to price decentralized concepts, you should probably peg it to a decentralized concept. Taking a decentralized idea and pegging it to a controlled idea, centralized idea, it just doesn't make any economic sense to me, personally. So that's my opinion on that. I know a lot of people have strong opinions. I think people are upset. Again, we're at that moment of despair in the markets. Going back to the markets, things are just so low that people are just looking for things to blame. So now people are just, well, let's just blame Bitcoin. It's because we're pegged to Bitcoin. Since Bitcoin's down, my coin is down. It's all Bitcoin's fault. And it's like, well, you know, if you were living your life and you were investing in this space to increase your Bitcoin amount or increase your Ethereum amount, there are a lot of people that have done very well and are very happy. And a lot of people who are saying these things, they got into this in the last probably 6 to 8 months. End of story. Because you wouldn't be saying that if you got in a year ago today. Simple. You'd still be up, what, 200, 250, maybe 300%. So you wouldn't really be complaining too much. It seems like that we had a huge adoption period. Greatest of all time so far. We'll have more. Greatest so far. Maybe the first wave. I actually have been talking with people and contemplating the thought that this is the first wave of an Elliott wave right here, which would just, which actually, if you do the math and everything based on the financial markets in the world and everything, and you do a proper Elliott wave chart and everything, the numbers actually start making sense that, oh yeah, if this really did take over, if this space even and the market cap and things of that nature replaced financial systems, it's about, you know, it starts making a lot of sense. So maybe this is the first wave. And this wave took, gosh, years to form, and just a few months to kind of come back down. So I've been thinking about those things. Anyhow, that's pretty much my stance on Bitcoin. It continues to be a store of value, continues to be the way that people transfer, move wealth. The fees are very, very low now. The technology that's coming out, if you've been living under a rock, you don't know that they are addressing challenges and trying to improve it. I still get frustrated as well with Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, just because it's challenging. There's very good arguments to both sides. I definitely prefer one community as a more welcoming community, and I think that community is critically important for any coin. But that aside, Bitcoin still is and continues to be what we peg everything to. That hasn't changed. It's not going to change. I don't know what could ever trump it. We're just going to have to wait and see. It definitely can happen. I'd have no doubt in my mind that it's plausible. I have no reason to root for that. And that's the fascinating part, is people that are trying to blame coins and say things like, let's unpeg it and all that stuff. It's like, you know, you just need to relax. We need to remember that, first of all, Bitcoin for a very, very long time was strictly a currency and had nothing to do with all this other technology in the space. Very quickly, it became a medium to actually start investing in these things. And it completely took on a whole new life. And the value of it went exponential because of that. And all of these projects that you're a big fan of would have never happened if that didn't exist. got to continue to support Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. You should root for it because it's a decentralized solution that can benefit people in the world. It's benefited you if you've invested in this space in any way, shape, or form. It was all made possible because of it. And to bash it because of the challenges it's had and because it was the first technologies, the first here, there's no reason to do that. It's like there's no reason to go back and bash your favorite search engines from when you were younger, like Alta Vista. Okay? They were great at the time, and Bitcoin right now is great at the time, and we want to see continued success and adoption, and we want to see continued innovation and technology. So let's not get in Reddits and start upvoting stuff just to bash coins, guys. We should actually be rooting for all the coins. I know that the centralized ones, I understand that if you're not rooting for those, but the many of the ideas that are coming out of this space, you should be rooting for all of them, because all of them are going to eventually help pave the way in the same way that Bitcoin did pave the way. You know, Ethereum is paving the way for things that we can't even imagine. A lot of people believe that EOS is like the new version or the most, you know, it's going to be the new hot thing and all that fun stuff. Definitely something to watch, but there's even people who don't believe it's possible because it's just so out of reach right now. But technology that you're invested in and things like that, they're paving the way for the next iteration, and you shouldn't be out there bashing other things because the next hot thing that could be game-changing, change the world, change people's lives, could be multiple coins coming together, right? Maybe joining forces. We haven't seen that yet. We see so much forking and dividing. It's rare that we see coming together, and you're starting to see that with some of the new protocols that are coming out that are attempting to try to bridge the gap between multiple chains and trying to make it so that they're not all different. And, you know, it's going to happen that soon we're going to see a meeting of the minds where people come together and build something that's greater and has more value. 1 + 1 = 3. We're going to see that happen in the next few years, and that's when things are really, really going to take off in this space, and that's when it's going to get really, really exciting. Okay? So, appreciate you guys. Kept this video a little bit longer than I planned. That always happens because I love this stuff, but I want to save some ammo for some more videos later this week. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Yes, there is some EOS airdrops coming out. I mentioned EOS. I'll probably touch on that in some future videos as we lead up to that. So make sure you subscribe. Hit the little bell down below and you'll never miss an episode. And make sure you pound that like button again for me. It means so much to me. Again, leave a comment below about your favorite April Fool's joke you saw in the crypto space. Definitely want to hear from you on that. And then just let me know how things are going and what's hot and what's not. You know, join the Telegram as well. But if you're not a Telegrammer, make sure you leave a comment below. We always try to make sure we respond to all the comments. Someone in the community will definitely answer your questions and point you in the right direction. So whether that's just, you know, basic 101 of how do you get started or advanced information about understanding the tokenomics of individual tokens and things of that nature, we want to learn together and we want to help each other grow in this space. There's so much opportunity and opportunity to make yourself better and opportunity to contribute to things that are bigger than you. Because again, guys, this entire thing is a story and we're just a part of it. It's bigger than all of us. The history books will talk about and write about this phase. We're already writing history about what happened in December and what's happening now, right? You can feel it. This is historic magnitude type of stuff happening and impacting people's lives, and it's going to continue to happen. And it's not stopping. It's just getting going. So we're just a part of the story. We're along for the ride, and let's enjoy that together. Let's learn together, and let's contribute to that story as a community and as a group of people. Okay? So I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. As always, I am the King of Do, and may the Force be with you.